Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel! Good day kids! Ready for another lesson? Teacher Joe here for another video lesson. To start with our first lesson for the fourth quarter. Relax and let's have some fun watching while learning new ideas. In our past lessons, we discussed about the elements of the story. We also discussed each of these story elements, which are the setting, the characters, the plot, the theme, and the point of view. We were able to understand these stories because sentences were used correctly. We were able to understand if the actions were done now, yesterday, or action is yet to be done. Remember that all we do are actions and they are called verbs, isn't it? Do you think verbs are important in sentences or simply in talking with your friends? For this video, we will be tackling about simple tenses of the verbs. We will be talking about each of these verbs. For better understanding, here is a tabular presentation of simple tenses of verbs. There are three simple tenses of verbs. First is the simple present tense. The simple present tense is used to express habitual action, permanent condition. How is it formed? The base form of the verb is used if the subject is plural or two or more, and S form is used for singular or one subject. Example of simple present form of verbs are study, play, move, dance, bring, see. Examples of S forms are studies, plays, moves, dances, brings, sees. Example of expressions that show present time are now, this time, at present, every day, every week, every month, every year, daily, monthly, weekly, always. Those are examples of simple present tense. Let's look at the second simple tense of verbs. We have the simple past form. How is it used? It is used to express actions that happened or is already over. How is it formed? It is formed by adding D or ED to the verb. Example, study, it becomes studied. Play, it becomes played. Move, it becomes moved. Dance, it becomes danced. However, when the verb is irregular, it is formed like this. Buy, bought. See, saw. Example of expressions that show time in the past. Yesterday, long time ago, 3 years ago, last week, last month, last year. Let's move on to the third simple tense of verb. We have the simple future tense. The simple future tense is used to express actions that is expected to happen. How is it formed? It is formed by adding will or shall to the base form of the verb. Example, will or shall, base form of the verb study, the simple future tense will become will or shall study. Another base form of the verb is play. We will add will or shall and it becomes will or shall play. Will or shall dance. It becomes will or shall dance. Example of expressions that show future time. Tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, by October, 5 years from now. Let's have some examples on the simple tenses of verbs used in sentences. Number 1. Marisa helps her mother in the garden every weekend. Who helps her mother in the garden? Yes, it's Marisa. Is she the one being talked about in this sentence? Yes, and Marisa is called subject. What is Marisa doing? Helps her mother, isn't it? Yes, and it is called the verb. Now, the verb in the sentence or statement is helps. It is in the S form because the subject Marisa is singular or only one. The time expression used is every weekend to signify that it is already a habit for Marisa to help her mother in the garden every weekend. The verb here is in the simple present tense. Let's see another or other statements in the simple present tense. Number 2. Her parents come from mountain province. Who is being talked about or the subject here? The verb in the sentence is come. It is in the base form because the subject parents is plural or more than one. Whether her parents may go to other places, the truth that her parents come from mountain province remains. Number 3. President Rodrigo Duterte serves the Filipino people. The verb in the statement is serves. It is in the S form because the subject President Rodrigo Duterte is singular and he is our president at present. The simple present tense has two main forms. The base form used with plural subjects and the S form with singular subject noun or pronoun. The B forms am, is, are, and has, have are also used. Let's study the next sentences. Number 1. The farmers harvested their crops last month. Number 2. Pedro bought an Android phone for his son yesterday. Number 3. She answered her learning activity sheet last night. You noticed that the sentences talked about past actions that happened at some definite time in the past. The verb in each sentence is expressed in the simple past tense because the actions were already done in the past. Past tense of verb is formed by adding D or ed to the simple form of the verb or by using other specific ways. Examples: wash plus ed equals washed. Play plus ed equals played. Dance plus d equals danced. Move plus d equals moved. Teach, teaches, it becomes taught. Buy, buys, it becomes bought. Let's move on to these sentences. Number 1 or letter A, the pupils shall pass their learning activity sheet next week. Letter B, I will answer my English activity sheet tomorrow. C, next year, Lloyd will be in high school. How are verbs formed in the sentences? What tense of verbs are used? Verbs in the sentences are expressed in simple future tense, and it uses the time expression for future time. Future tense of verb expresses an action which is expected to come or happen. Verbs in the future tense follow this form: shall or will plus base form of the verb. Remember, the simple present tense indicates present time. It expresses habitual, present, or repeated action, permanent condition, and facts or general truth. The verb should agree with its subject in number. If the subject is singular, the verb ends with s or es. If it is plural, it uses the simple or base form of the verb. The simple past tense shows past time. It expresses an action that happened at a definite time in the past. The simple future tense expresses future time. It shows an action that is expected to happen. In a paragraph, the tenses should not be mixed incorrectly. Shifting from one tense to another is confusing. Usually, the verbs follow the form of the first verb in the paragraph. Testing time! Identify the tense of the verb in each sentence. Write simple present tense, simple past tense, or simple future tense after it. Number 1. A musical instrument vibrates. Number 2. Andy will tap the table with a stick. Number 3. Jimmy blew through a tube of paper. Number 4. Arnold plucks a rubber band. Number 5. Each action will make a vibration. Number 6. People today blank face mask and face shield to protect themselves against coronavirus. A. Use. B. Used. C. Will use. D. Uses. Number 7. Yesterday, Jenny blank herself vitamins to boost her immune system. A. Buys. B. Will buy. C. Bought. D. Buy. Number 8. Health experts always blank us to observe health protocols, especially if we are in public places. A. Will remind. B. Reminds. C. Reminded. D. Remind. Number 9. Lisa blanked their persimmon fruit in Bontoc on Saturday. A. Will sell. B. Sell. C. Sells. D. Sold. Number 10. He honestly blank his learning activity sheets every day. A. Answers. B. Answered. C. Answered. D. Will answer. Let's check your answers. Number 1. Simple present tense. Number 2. Simple future tense. Number 3. Simple past tense. Number 4. Simple present tense. And number 5. Simple future tense. Number 6. A. Number 7. C. Number 8, D. Number 9, A. And number 10, A. Did you get it all? Very good! I hope that our lesson for today helped you in your learning. Till next video!